it used to be in the Internet of Screens business, forget about things for a minute, that if you wanted to get ourselves or others to think about the importance of security, you talked about Stuxnet. I don't know how many people are familiar with Stuxnet, but an unknown source, i.e. the Israeli and American government, created a piece of code that sat on all of our compute devices, asking, am I in an Iranian nuclear facility, am I attached to a Siemens control system? And then when it finally found its way into that nuclear facility, set back the uranium enrichment program in Iran by a decade. Now, a day does not pass without a story about Target losing 1 million customer data sets or whatever. It's a daily exercise now. We have not placed value on security. We just haven't. And it gets a bit worse with the younger generation. I look at my kids and the open way that they throw their information around. We've got to get that sorted. There's got to be an awareness of it, and then we have to put fixes in place. And again, of course, we know how to fix it. We couldn't run a high-tech factory without knowing that each of those devices, when it says I am equipment A, and the data I am shipping to you is trustworthy, if I don't know those things to be true, I can't act on it. The information is of no use to me whatsoever. It's no use to Paul remotely fixing a substation if he doesn't trust that that substation is who it says it is and the data from it is what it says it is. So the security is fundamental, and it used to be that armies faced up against one another and that was how war happened. Then it was guerrilla warfare. Now you fly an airplane, most recently fly an airplane in to a building. The next version of that will be to switch off the Irish grid, will be to consume all of our information. Society will be switched off by the lack of security connection. And so the brilliance of connecting things has a downside if you don't secure them.
And I would imagine, Paul, that security must be a huge issue for...
Yeah.
It goes without saying, does it? But
yes, but security has always been an issue for the distribution transmission system operator. The last thing you can do is afford to have somebody hack in and switch out Galway or switch out Dublin. And
Galway's okay.
That's Galway's or switch out Rybrook and lose intel. But huge work goes on in that space. I mean, there are international conferences that we go to just about cybersecurity for electricity SCADA systems. So, and we would take a lot of precautions in that we wouldn't use the public internet except maybe in certain restricted ways, and we'd have firewalls and so on.
We saw today in the news they mentioned that Amazon had moved one of their cloud services to Germany, which has the strictest rules about privacy. And it's something that we need to think about in Ireland, because the European Commission is already debating the concept of privacy and how you enforce privacy. So the country that can actually manage this world, because a lot of these sensors, I mean, if you really want to be paranoid, and some people are, about walking around, we just heard about what people can do to your phone while you're, I think it was Facebook was mentioned, but a really big challenge for the Internet of Things is the privacy issue, because remember what happened with GM Foods and how people reacted against GM Foods because they were not confident that these were safe. Right. We haven't gone to that stage yet, but I think it would be, and it's one of the values of being a small country, is that we should actually start exploring this whole area of privacy and how you can lose data as well as retain data. And if we become a leader in this area, then a lot of countries will want to come here, or companies come here to do some work in that area.
I personally believe that we need to establish, and we need to establish quite quickly, a research centre that has the critical mass and the agility of mind to be able to respond specifically to the challenge of the Internet of Things. I'm mindful of the fact that we've got some wonderful research centres that have been created within Ireland. So, for example, the Insight Centre that has a demonstrated capability of being able to do the uplifting of this vast amount of data that the Internet of Things would be able to accumulate. We have the recently announced Connect Centre that is able to do and address the the communications infrastructure that will facilitate much of that requirement. I think there's an integrative part in the middle that needs to straddle those two research centres, and I think in order to get the true emergent capability in Ireland as a nation, I think we need a research centre of excellence, specifically in the space of IoT.